So joining me right now, David Brock from Media Matters for America, founder and chairman of the board. David, it's great to see you here, and let's talk about this because we just had Josh Earnest talk about the fact that the administration has always said that it needs to have anyone's emails properly preserved and retained, but that it's important that they recognize that Secretary of State Clinton has handed over her private emails to the State Department. But is she above the fact that she should operate without oversight as Secretary of State now that it's been revealed she has her own server and used the personal accounts?
Well, I don't think she was operating without oversight. What we know here is that the relevant statutes were complied with. The State Department said yesterday that 55,000 pages of emails were turned over late last year in compliance with that law, and the vast majority of those emails the State Department had access to for years. So there's really not a question of proper oversight here. Everything was done properly. The problem we have is a manufactured controversy in the media, which started with yesterday's New York Times and continues with some of the media reports today, unfortunately.
So you don't think that it's of any alarm that a cabinet-level official runs their own email operation out of their private home through their personal account with no oversight from the president? That's not a problem.
I don't know why that would be a problem. I don't think it's material. I think the issue is, wouldn't you want to know that the Clintons had a lot of security on their email and that the Chinese and the Russians weren't hacking into their email? So
we shouldn't trust our own government and the elected official that our president is in appointing Hillary Clinton. The American people electing the president should have no oversight over Hillary Clinton.
No, that's really not. I don't understand what you're saying about oversight. Look, what Josh
no access to her email. I mean, every other federal government employee.
To the email. The vast majority of these
the emails that she wants to give up. If you have your own server in your house, you can control them what you release to the State Department as they're trying to retain 55,000 emails that they may or may not have.
In my view, what's important is that the law was complied with. All of these emails, the 55,000 pages, were turned over. And another point at the State Department briefing yesterday was that the vast majority of those emails were in the State Department for years. So I don't understand the question about oversight. I think that that the law was complied with.
So and you don't find it at all a problem that a cabinet-level member has their own server and runs their own email operation through a personal account doing government business and not CCing most of the emails to people in her office or even to her own .gov account? You find no problem with that?
The law specified what was required and the law was complied with. You know, Jeb Bush has his own private server. Lots of people in public life do that, and they want to have security on their email, and I think we should want that too. So
should we trust our government that they have proper safety in place for our government officials to use their .gov accounts or not?
Well, look, the law from 2009 was judged to be not totally adequate, and so the rules were tightened in 2013 and 2014. Secretary Clinton had left office by then. There's ample precedent for the fact that a cabinet officer would use personal email. It happened all the time in the Bush cabinet. And so there's no reason to think that this wasn't handled entirely properly, except for the fact that this is related to the Republicans in Benghazi and the leaking of stories and trying to harass Hillary Clinton and get access to all these emails and go on a big fishing expedition because they've failed in what they've tried to do for years. There have been 10 investigations of this, Robert and Thomas, and there's been no wrongdoing shown, and that's what's behind this. And that's what's not getting covered.
But you think this is just smart politics?
Not what's getting covered.
You think this is smart politics from Hillary Clinton to have done this?
Smart politics?
Correct.
I don't think this is a political issue, and I think it's no issue. I think this is an issue that's ginned up only by the Republicans for partisan purposes. Unfortunately, we've seen this time and again with the Benghazi Committee, where mainstream media outlets have been taken in. They think there's something there. This story, Thomas, is totally unraveled in the last day. The main source of the Times came out and said she didn't violate the law.
But for an administration that sold transparency and saying it's the most transparent administration in modern times, does this put a blemish and bruise on that because of the fact that the Obama administration was allowing a cabinet member official to run their own email operation with their own server? That means they can pick and choose what they choose to make public record.
But all the relevant email, all the pertinent email has been turned over.
How do we know?
It's in the government hands.
How do we know? Because, I mean, that's controlled by the Clinton IT people.
That's what the State Department said.
But how do they know what they don't even know?
Well, look, do you know how the Federal Records Act actually works? It's up to the head of the agency to decide what's relevant. That's what the law is.
Okay. Well, then hopefully they're all submitted now. David Brock, great to have you here. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks.
Coming up, we're going to talk about the thing that David brought up, Jeb Bush, and new information.